Okay, hello, beautiful people. We are today in a very hot weather here in Houston. I know in Massachusetts, my guest today has a better weather than I do.
Yes,
However, we're going to start recording this because the baby's asleep. And as a mom, we try to put every single second in,
that's
in the
right.
productivity mode. So without any delay, I'm going to introduce my guest today is Kristen Vassor. And if please excuse me if I misspell or mispronounce your name because my Mexican Spanglish kicks in.
Well,
Okay.
my husband is Haitian, so Vassor is actually correct, but in America we say Vassar. But yeah, yes,
So I
you
actually
said it
did it.
correctly.
Ah, Vassor. Okay, good. Okay, I made it. My Mexican Spanglish went in.
Woo.
Okay, good. Good. So without any delay, Kristen, take it from here. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Sure. So I'm Kristen and I am a life coach for moms. I'm a general life coach, which means that I want to help moms in any area of their life that they want help with. So for example, let's say you want to lose weight, I can help you lose weight. Let's say you want to stop losing your temper with your children, I can help you do that. Let's say you have a teenager who's giving you a hard time, I could help you with that. I could help you with your relationships with your husband or your partner. But overall, what I want to help moms do is I want to give them support because I think that we just um, have a lot on our plates as moms. So I want to be the person that moms can go to for support. And then also I want to help moms feel better. So in my type of life coaching, I teach you how to go into your brain. We have 60,000 thoughts in a
Okay.
day. Yes. And most of them are negative. And when we
Okay.
are grabbing onto our negative emotions, that means that we are going to hold on to them and we're not going to feel very good. We're not going to show up the way that we want to. So I teach moms how to choose the thoughts that they want to keep so that they can show up how they want to in their
Okay.
lives.
So you're mentioning that we as humans we have 60,000 thoughts in our
Thoughts.
brain. But I
Mhm.
guess as moms, we have ours, our kids, our parents, our
Yes.
spouse, the teacher, the friend. So we put everything inside. So are you helping them or do you help them to, okay, let's figure it out which are yours and which are not yours?
hmm Yeah, well, I think we have thoughts about our children. We have thoughts about our job. We have thoughts about our
Okay.
partners. Yeah, so we have our thoughts about everything else. So we don't, and that's like a really good point. Like our thoughts are not just about ourselves. They probably are the least about ourselves. They
Okay.
are more about our kids and like managing our thoughts about our kids so that we're not constantly worried about them and things like that, or we're not constantly feeling guilty about things. So just learning which thoughts we want to keep and which ones will help us to feel better and show up better.
Okay, understand. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So tell me, Kristen, how did you start your life coach business? Because I know that you have a full-time job and at the same time you have a baby and at the same time you are having a part-time as a life coach helping other moms. So
Right.
first, how did you think like I'm going to do life coach even though I have a job? And then the second question would be, how did you balance all these three components in your life? Because the baby is a major time absorbent.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I found life coaching about 5 years ago. I found this podcast called The Life Coach School
Okay.
by Brooke Castillo. And I listened to all of her podcasts and I absorbed everything, loved it so much. And then I was like, okay, I really want to do this. So I became certified it was like kind of during COVID, so I had a little bit more time, like schools were shut down and things like that. So I'm a teacher, and we didn't mention that, but
Okay.
yeah. So um, yeah, I created the time to go to life coach school and became certified. I wanted to become certified because several reasons. I do have a goal to retire from teaching earlier than the 30 years that I normally would. And that's because I just want more freedom in my life. I've always felt like I was pretty good at like giving people advice and helping people and motivating people. And that's what life coaching essentially is. So I just found it would be something that I would enjoy doing in addition to teaching. But eventually I do want to stop teaching. So right now it's like my plate is definitely full, but it's just my goal. It's my dream to retire from teaching. It's my dream to help moms. It's my dream to show people how amazing it is once you learn how to work with your brain. So I guess the busyness isn't holding me back because of my dream. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not
Yeah.
letting the busyness hold me back. That being said, I do, because you did ask, how do I balance everything? So I became certified, and then a couple of months later, I found out at the age of 40 that I was pregnant. A
Oh,
surprise.
a surprise.
A surprise. I already had a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, completely starting over. And so I had the baby, and what I really did is I stopped like worrying about life coaching. I just took a break. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that's really important for moms to know is like, we don't always have to be doing it all. Sometimes we might need to just focus on one thing. So obviously, when I had a baby, I focused on my baby. Do you know what I mean? But
Yes.
now that he's a bit older, and I have a little bit more time, I'm able to focus back on my business. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you took a step back from the second part of your career development, which is the life coaching.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
happened to the teaching? You had your maternity leave and that was it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I was home on maternity leave for a few months. And once I got my bearings with the baby and got used to having a new little one again, I focused more on coaching because I was home on maternity leave. And even like right now, it's summer vacation, so I can really focus on my kids and really focus on coaching. But when school starts up again, I need to focus on my new class and building relationships. So I guess in my life, the way that I balance it is that I don't expect myself to do everything all at once.
Okay. Because one of the things that I was listening to here with another moms that I interviewed before is
Mhm.
that some of them are very strict on their schedules. Like this is my moment, and you cannot do
Yeah,
that because they're like 2 hours is full on production or whatever they're supposed to do,
right.
and the
Yep.
rest of the day they are with the family or the other thing that they need to do. But they're very strict on that part. And then other mom said, "Well, you can't clone yourself, so you have to hire somebody. But so
Mhm.
when you are starting, you cannot hire, right?
Right.
You have to do
Right.
everything. How did you handle this part of your life of your business stage that even though you're 5 years already, I don't know, and as a part-time, are you outsourcing somebody or you're doing everything by yourself?
I do everything. Well, okay. I have two outsources.
Okay.
The first one, and I don't know if people think of this as outsourcing, but I do Instacart. So I used to go to the grocery store and that would take, a couple of hours. Now I fill my cart, it comes, and it just gives me a little bit more time.
They do.
Um,
They told me that they actually
yeah,
do that. They have
yeah,
a mom in South Africa. She does the same. A mom in
yep,
Hawaii does the same. A mom in I think she's in Manchester. She does the same. Everybody
yeah,
was like, I can't be 3 hours in the supermarket.
that's right. So like any little thing that I can do that just gives me a little bit of extra time. My other outsource is that I do again have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they help me around the house. So, for example, the baby's napping right now. If he woke up, they know that I'm on a call, so they would be the ones to get him, and they help me out. I do pay them, but
Oh, great.
I pay them in Dunkin' Donut refreshers.
And they're loving their Dunkin' Donuts payment.
Yes,
Believe
yeah.
me.
So So things like that. And then just like being on the same page as my husband, and he had a small business before. And so he understands that you do have to put a lot into it. And I really supported him on that. So he really just in turn is supporting me. And, if I have a call, then he is fine with taking over. He helps with cooking dinners and cleaning and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's another way to not outsource, but asking for help and being able to receive help, because a lot of women are unable to do that. That's a big way that I fit everything in.
So your family is actually pretty much involved on supporting you in your business, because that was
Yes.
going to be my next question, but
Yeah.
okay, because some of the interviews are like, no, these are my outsourcing, this is what I do, and my
Mhm.
family support, sorry, but still the dinner is the dinner, the cleaning is the cleaning, so they don't outsource that, but they are in charge of that. And right now you're saying that your family is actually full on support with you
Yeah.
with chores. And I was going to say that's a jewel, someone that actually cooks and cleans and do everything for you. Like, wow, that's super. Because
Yeah,
it's
no,
hard. It is hard.
yeah, it is. It's a lot. It's um, sometimes I find myself like I work all week and then Saturday going to like clean everything and do the grocery shopping. It's just a lot. So, like I said, any little bit that I can take to like, um, free up a little bit of my time, that's when I'll put that into my business or into my children, whatever it might be. I will also say, like, my house is not the cleanest, most organized house. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with there being books all over my living room because the baby just dumps out the basket. And I don't feel the need to like constantly clean up after everybody. And I think sometimes like women think that the house has to be a certain way or that we have to have a fresh cooked meal every single night. Like I'm okay with being like, I'm tired, so tonight we're going to order subs or something like that.
You
I
are
think that's
okay.
really helpful.
You
Yeah.
are okay of not having an Instagram or Pinterest perfect house.
Oh my gosh. No.
Okay.
No, and too, like, and this is what I like to coach moms on as well. I think like my son's birthday party, we invited my mom over for cake and dinner, and that's it. Like I didn't have a huge birthday party for my 1-year-old because he wouldn't remember it, and
Yeah.
I don't
It was
have
a
the
birthday for
time to
you.
put into it. Yeah, exactly. So it's just I try to keep things very simple. That's probably is my best advice.
Okay, keep it simple. Keep it and as real as you can be, because once they see you, your clients and your audience, they read through you like, oh, your
Right.
Pinterest and your books are saying things, but when I go and meet you in person, like you have nothing like the Pinterest or the
Right.
Instagram moment. So what's going on
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, and like that's so interesting that you say that because like if you see my reels or my videos, like yesterday I made a video. I just had something that I felt like I wanted to say.
Mhm.
And part of me, like I kept going back and forth. I was wearing a hat. I didn't have any makeup on. I like had worked out. And part of me was like, oh, I should take a shower and like do the video after. But again, the baby was sleeping. So I was like, this is my time. Like, this is my time to do it. Who cares what I look like? All that matters is the message that I am putting forth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that plays into my business of me just being real. I'm a real mom with a full-time job, 3 kids, and a part-time job. This is what you get. And I'm okay with that. And if people aren't okay with that and they want a Pinterest looking coach, that's fine. I'm sure there's them out there, but that's not me, you know?
Very good. Yes, absolutely. I feel you, because as you said, I don't mind the dogs. I have dogs and I have cats and I have fishes and I have lizards and I have a zoo. So
Yeah.
it is very complicated for me to do that. And I'm almost an empty nester. I just have one rising senior, the other one is already in college in Taiwan, to be exactly right now. So it's just
Wow.
impressively scary sometimes that you like, hey, you haven't called me in the last
I
3
know.
weeks, but okay,
Are
it's
you
fine.
okay?
I think you're
Yeah.
okay. I see that you are charging the McDonald's every week,
Yeah.
so I think you're still alive.
We
Okay,
do that
good.
too. Yeah.
It's good, right? You'll
Well,
be
I
there
know.
pretty
I know
soon.
all about that. Yep.
You'll be there pretty soon. They're like, oh dear Lord. Okay.
I
So
know.
those are the things that it happens to us. So how when you were mentioning on your life coaching, that you got inspired by the podcast, which that's the power of podcast, you get inspired by other people's stories.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
was it hard for you? I guess not, because you are a teacher, so you are very used to give advice anyway. But how did you choose only moms, or how did you choose only a certain niche? How did you come up with that niche? Because I guess
Yeah.
one of the problems of other moms who want to start a business is like, yeah, I want to do something and I have no idea what. So how
Yeah.
did you choose to become a life coach for moms?
For mom. So that's a really good question. I guess I think like in life coaching, you kind of coach on what you know the
Mhm.
most and like where you've had the biggest transformation. And for me, I've had a lot of transformations like in all parts of my life. And I think my biggest identity is that I'm a mom. And before I found this, I guess I felt like I was like drowning as a mom. This is when my husband had his own business, and I used to say I was a single mom, and I would be taking my kids to all the things after school and things like that. And I just felt like this is life. Like being a mom is just hard. And I didn't necessarily like love a lot of parts of it. And so once I realized that the whole problem was just in my thinking and the way that I was thinking about everything, and it was just everything was a chore for me, um, I was able to really make a shift in my life. I stopped feeling so much mom guilt when I wanted to do something for myself. I stopped thinking I had to be perfect in certain areas of my life. So I just think like because I transformed as a mom the most, that's why I want to help moms. That's really it. I think another big transformation I had as a mom is my oldest daughter. I used to like be on top of her with school, and I used to like yell at her and get mad when she wasn't doing well. And it just wasn't showing up the way I wanted to in our relationship. We were butting heads. And so with life coaching, I learned like just to support her in a completely different way. And I would never have learned how to do that without life coaching.
Okay.
I think I answered your question. I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Yes, you did. So pretty much a journey of self-healing that helped you to figure out your niche, which because you have
Yes.
to be, as you said, you have to be very authentic and you have to be relatable to other moms' problems. And there's nothing more
Yeah.
relatable than say, hey, I'm a single mom. Why? Because I do everything. And
Right.
the husband, spouse, partner just show up to when there's a
Right.
the final part of the competition, or just because, oh, you have a bad grade, or because you said no and they want yes, then they go
Right.
to do
Right.
that and say to ask for the yes, right? Which happened to me, even though she's 20. She's like, I said no, and they go, oh, I'm going to tell my dad. Go and tell your dad, I don't care. Like, dude, you're 20 and you're still playing on that role. But anyway, it's funny, just funny. And so that's part of your journey. Now, and another question I want to ask you is, um, how does because you mentioned about the mom guilt, how much of your cultural baggage jumps in, like the way your mom was raised or your grandmother was raised, and how you were raised, like, oh my God, it's just I want to break this part because I know it didn't suit me. I know that many of my flaws are because the way I was raised. So how can
Right.
I stop it? I'm Mexican, so believe me, I have a lot of baggage. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the
Uh,
Spaniard and Mexican in me are like, oh my God, it's just like too much. So how do
yeah.
I pass it?
So for me, I guess I've been like going through it this past couple of months with this. It's so interesting that you asked that. Um, the way that I was raised was we weren't allowed to have like strong emotions.
You had to be
So if
very
I,
strong, mom.
yeah, so if I was upset about something, my mom essentially would like yell at me. And I know now it's because my mom couldn't handle strong emotions. Like she didn't know how to handle it. So she just would get frustrated and upset.
Hmm.
And so she would yell at me. And then I learned when I had strong emotions that I needed to hide them. And so the way that I learned to hide them is through eating. And I became overweight as a child. And, my weight has been a thing my entire life because of it. Eventually, I learned to drink. Once I became older, I drank when I had strong emotions. And so through coaching, what I've learned is how to allow my strong emotions, which was a huge undertaking. And then in me learning how to allow my strong emotions, I'm better able to allow my partner's emotions and my children's emotions. And so again, like my kids are older. So I still remember when my oldest daughter, she's a very emotional person. I think she was given to me for a reason. Like she's a Cancer and she just is big emotions. And I remember when she was young and she would get upset that I would be like, oh, let's order a pizza and let's watch a movie, that's just all I knew. Like that's how I knew how to fix emotions. And now I would never do that. I just say, oh, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. If you want, do you want a hug? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to be left alone? Like I've learned how to allow their emotions instead of like with my mom pushing them away.
Okay.
That for me has been like huge and has been very helpful in my relationship, especially with this daughter, because now she's allowed to have her big emotions and I teach her that her emotions are important and it's okay to be upset and things like that. And so she's comes to me and tells me things that I would never have told my mom. And that's all you want as a mom is for your child to be able to come to you when they're upset, so you can help them. But yeah, that's my big thing that I feel like stopping the generational cycle of like pushing emotions away and learning how to allow them and that they're okay. They're not going to hurt you.
And going a little bit deeper, because a lot of cultural baggage also is, why do you want to open a business? Why do you want to work if you are a mom? So
Mhm.
how did you, was ever that a baggage for you? Was ever that a problem? Or was ever like, you have to be
Yeah.
content with your role as a mom, even though
Yeah.
I push you to have a degree and
Mhm.
have whatever kind of undergrad degree you have, but now you're a mom, so you can forget about everything and just being a mom. So did you
Yeah.
have any kind of baggage about that? And if so, how did you help yourself to going into not only a career, which is teaching, but to put your own business, to start your own business?
Yeah, that's a really great question. For being a teacher, I think you always kind of tell yourself like it's a really good job for you to have as a mom because you're home during the summer. Like I get home, I can be home at 3:30 and I'm with my kids all afternoon and evening. I'm home for all vacations. And so I do think it is kind of a career that moms are like okay doing because they're not away from their kids. I never go on like business trips or anything like that. When my girls were young, I I just wasn't able to put myself first ever. And so like a big part of my life now is yoga and just like a lot of self-care. And when they were young, I just felt like I had to do everything to show or prove that I was a good mom.
Okay.
And for with that, like I wouldn't ask my husband to, like we were saying, like my husband helps with cooking dinner and cleaning and stuff like that. Like I never asked him when I was young. When my kids were younger, I just did it myself, and then I would become angry and resentful because he wasn't helping me enough. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yes.
So, but again, it was just like that's what our society tells us that we should be able to do it all. But the fact is that's completely impossible. So, um, I learned that it's really important for me to have some alone time it's really important for me to be able to like go to yoga and to take a little bit of break for myself. And I don't feel guilty about it because I know that I show up as a better person, as a better mom because of it. And the thing I always go back to is like, do I want my daughters to become moms who don't take care of themselves? And the answer is no.
Okay,
So
that's
I
a good
need
one.
to, right. So I need to model for them what I want for them when they get older. As far as starting a business, I like, yeah, it definitely takes time away from them, but then I always go back to I'm showing them, like I've been working at this for years
Okay.
and I want to show them not to give up. Like they know that I want to stop teaching and I am not giving up until I do it. And they're going to learn so much more from seeing me do this than if I take them to the movies an extra couple of times. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm
Yes.
teaching them so much more by doing what I'm doing and following my dream. That's what I'm trying to do. So I could fall into like a guilt trap, but I choose to focus on what I am doing, not what I'm not doing.
Perfect. So you are actually giving them a real role model other than the role models on Instagram that they just follow your dream and they just put a very nice traveling nomad doing everything instead of looking at home and said, well, my mom is actually following her dream and working
Yeah,
very hard to make it happen. And this is what following your dream means, that passion that you imbued not only yourself, but also your family, and they can see it
right.
and learn from them. I'm
Right.
so inspired by your journey and your story. And now, how do you stay motivated? Because you mentioned that there are some times that you have a baby and you're like, when the baby sleeps, you do almost everything, but you also have to sleep and you have to take care of yourself. So how do you stay motivated and productive when the baby is not asleep?
Um, when the baby's not asleep, I do try to like this morning we went for a walk and then we went to the library. I try to be balanced. So like I try to do things with him, but then when he's awake, like when he wakes up from his nap, I'm okay if he sits and reads his books or plays by himself. Like I don't feel the need to be on all of the time with my children. Um, and like I think that's good for them to be able to play on their own and things like that. Or I might just have him eating and then I'm making dinner. And so I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that question 100%. I just do my best. And this is probably the big thing that would be really helpful to moms is like I don't beat myself up. So like if
Okay.
I don't do something perfectly, whether that's in my business as a teacher or as a mom, I just am like, you know what? You're doing your absolute best. If you want to try it differently next time, then go for it. But it's okay. Like life doesn't need to be perfect. So I guess that's probably is what I always go back to help me.
Okay, so part of your motivation is absolutely accept that there will be bad days and there will be good days. And
Yep.
sometimes the bad day will allow you to have a step back,
Hmm.
regroup your thoughts, and then move back again. So that's very interesting. It's part of a lot of
Yeah.
that
Learning.
learning, and that I'm trying to think about that a yoga position that puts you on the back and then goes all the way forward and try to like activate everything. I tried yoga once and I just fell off. I look like a pretzel, so no, it didn't work for me. Yoga is not for everybody. It turns out to be, at least the yoga that I tried. Maybe there are some
Yeah.
kind of other yoga that are
There's a lot.
less
There's a lot.
complicated. Less complicated. You don't look like a pretzel every day.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? Now, on your life coaching business as
Mhm.
a life coach for moms, when a mom asks you, "Hey, I have a huge problem,"
Mhm.
and they don't even know what the problem is, but they know that they need someone that is not their best friend, that is not their
Yeah.
mom, that is no one, because judgment, right? They need someone that to help them figure out what the problem is because they don't know what it is, but they don't
Right.
want to go to the regular.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, you know something, person, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be
Yeah.
ashamed. I have something that is eating me inside, and I know I have to get it out. What kind of advice would you tell that person to go and find a life coach? Because as you know, there might be a life coaches that are not the best fit. How did you choose a life coach?
So to find a life coach, I think a lot of life coaches have something called a consult call. So if you went on a consult call with me, you would tell me what you wanted help on. I would explain to you how I would help you. And I think in that, like our conversation, you can kind of get to know somebody and decide if they're the right fit for you. Like, did they help you in that hour call? Or did you feel like they were judging you? Or did you feel like you didn't make any moves or anything like that? So I guess just finding somebody who you really can connect with, because that's the most important thing. So for me, I'm an honest person. So I'm going to show you your brain. I'm going to be honest with you so that you are able to make shifts in your thinking. I also I like to laugh, so I might make light of something and things like that. Um, but maybe that's not something that you would want. So you would want to maybe find someone who's a little bit more low key. So it really just depends on your personality, but like trying them out and knowing that you are the person who gets to decide and make the choice of who would be best for you. You're the one who's spending the money. And then the other thing is like there are coaches who are very niche down. So if you want help with weight loss, maybe you want a weight loss coach. If you want a complete change in your life, you would want like a general life coach. And that's what I do. So it really is just trying different people out.
Okay, now you mentioned weight loss. There's a lot of moms that you were mentioning before in your conversation that you ate your emotions first and then you drank your emotions second when you learned to drink.
Mhm.
And then there are other moms that they have a very balanced way, one cupcake and one mimosa on each hand. So that's how they balance life with emotions,
Yeah.
right? How do you on that weight loss, it is not about not eating healthy because usually the moms are trying to be as healthy as possible. Do you believe it is more, or in your practice, in your experience, do you believe it's more about this mindset that you are eating, you're self-sabotaging your weight loss? So it is not about the amount of exercise or the amount of calories you intake, is about that self-sabotage that you are not allowed to lose weight because the mind is very powerful.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can lose weight or gain weight simply because of what your thoughts are about yourself or about eating. Um, but I think the biggest shift is just learning to deal with your emotions instead of eating your emotions or drinking your emotions. And I think in our society, we teach moms, we have like a mommy wine culture where like if you're with your children and you're having a bad day, then just have a glass of wine and it'll make everything all better. But then in the morning, when you wake up, you feel miserable, you feel tired because you didn't get a good night's rest, and you still have the same problems that you had
Yeah.
before you started drinking. And for me, this is what happened was it just kept escalating, escalating, escalating. And I would wake up in the morning and just feel miserable. And I would go to work and I would feel miserable and I would be frustrated all day. And the problem wasn't really necessarily the drinking. The problem was that I never dealt with my frustration and the thoughts that were causing my frustration. So now when I feel strong emotions, I know how to coach myself and to figure out the root of it. I don't need to drink or eat to fix my problems. And so in general, I'm just a much happier and calmer person than I used to be.
That's impressive. That's so happy. And in all this journey, what are the most important lessons that you learned about running your business? while raising a family?
Don't give up. I guess like that's probably is the biggest thing, that there'll be really hard days, but you just have to go back to the root of what you want to do and like who you want to help. And when you do that, then that helps you keep going. That's what gets your motivation to keep going. And like I said, like outsourcing, what we said, whatever helps, like Instacart, I only do my own laundry. So my husband does his laundry, my kids do their laundry, and my mom does the baby's laundry.
Oh, what
So,
a
so it's just like finding those little things to like give you a little bit more time. And the last advice is it might take you a little bit longer because you're raising little ones. Like you have, if you have a full-time job like I do, you have a second full-time job, which is being a mom.
Mhm.
And like don't like take away from the fact that you are that busy. So your side job or the business that you're trying to create for yourself, that's might take a little bit longer, and that's okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, like just not putting that pressure on yourself. And I have learned that the hard way. So I spent so much time being like, why is this not like happening faster? But then I've been coached on it a lot. And so I've learned to just be like, it's going at the rate that it's supposed to be. Like I'm still here for my students, I'm still here for my children, and then I'm still here for moms. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes the moms might just be a little bit more slow because the little ones need me more.
Yeah, absolutely. So each one has their own pace.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to share your future goals? Do you have a program in hand for moms that are really needing your help right now? Because there must be a lot of moms that, hey, I want to be there.
Yeah, so I think definitely get to know me by, if you follow me on Instagram, that's where you'll see the
What is your
different,
handle?
it's reimagining_mom,
Okay.
reimagining mom. I think that is a good way to just get to know me, and I teach a lot on there. I teach ways to change your mindset just to feel better. So you might see one of my reels and like instantly have a ability to change your thoughts and feel better as a mom. And then also right now I'm offering a free session to anybody that just wants to try coaching. I think of it as like, you know, when you go to the mall and the people at the food court are like
Yeah.
giving you a free sample. I think so many people don't even know what coaching is. So I offer like a free sample of coaching, and I coached a mom last night for half an hour, and she had a complete shift, and she loved it. So you can sign up for a free session with me. I can help you with anything.
Where
And
can
then go
where
ahead.
can they sign up? On your Instagram?
Yeah, so on my
Okay.
Instagram, in my bio, I have a link tree. So if you
Okay.
go to my link tree, you can see my calendar and you can sign right up, and you would have a free session with me just to try it out. So yeah. And then
That's
I coach moms one-on-one for 6 months, because that's how long I think you need to make a shift in your life. And then when the 6 months is over, you'll take everything that you learned, all the changes that you made in your brain, and you're able to like fly and do whatever you want to do. So
That's impressive. So now, friends, moms over there, beautiful people, now you listen to Kristen Vassor and her amazing journey while having a full-time job, having a new baby, and at the same time having a life coach practice. And go sign up for that free session.
yeah,
Take
yeah.
advantage of that free session right now and reimagining_mom on Instagram. Just go and click over there. And
Yeah.
thank you so much, Kristen, for being with us today and
Thank
for being
you.
part of this super adventure that I'm having with everybody.
Yes, thank you for doing this. It's so nice and giving of you to help other moms and inspire people. That's wonderful. Thank
That's the
you.
whole purpose. Thank you so much. And
That's
until
right.
next week, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Kristen.
Bye. Thank you.
So, friends, now you see, you can actually have a second job or start a new business, even though you already have your own business or your full-time job. So until next week, I'm Gaby Rendon. You can find me as Content with a Purpose on any social media or at Gaby Rendon on LinkedIn. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.